My name is Dave Swartz, and I've got a story to tell you. Hey everybody, my name is Dave Swartz, and welcome to Dose of Dave, where we're going to talk about art, writing, teaching, philosophy, and just life in general, okay? This whole video series is a chance for me to, I believe, express what it is about life that's so unique, the way that I see the world around me, and maybe that resonates with maybe the world that you see around you. So today, in this first episode of Dose of Dave, we're going to talk about how to write your own story for your life and how to make sure that no one else can take over the pen and write that story for you. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about my life. I'm going to try to get through it as quickly as I can. It's kind of a long up and down sort of tale, but I really do want to express to you guys the fact that if you have plans, if you have expectations, be prepared to throw those out the window, because you are never prepared for what the universe may have in store for you. And the best thing for anybody, I believe, is to just allow that to be a reality. Allow the universe to provide for you the things that you're going to need to fulfill the purpose that you're put on this earth to do. So I began, as a lot of people did, I think, in a creative sort of space where I just loved artwork as a kid. I loved art. I loved anything that has to do with art. I love music. I love all those types of creative expressions. So as a kid, I was really into comic books. So I took comic books and I would just draw them all day long. It was my favorite thing to do, aside from, you know, playing with my action figures and creating worlds of my own. So I grew older though, and my interests changed, and I decided in my high school years that, you know, I don't really care about art as much as I do music. Music is really cool. I want to explore that some more. So in high school, I was in a band, and I really thought for many, many years that that was going to be my life. I was going to be a musician. I was going to travel the world and create amazing new, you know, songs, and it was going to be great. It didn't work out that way, and things changed, and I decided, hey, you know what? I need to go to college. I need to buckle down and, buckle down and go to art school. So I went to college for creative study in Detroit for 4 years, and I studied illustration, where every year that I was there, I changed my path. Every single year I decided, you know, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that. And it never worked out. You know, it was a thing where I think I was just exploring. You know what? I shouldn't say that. Let's. It did work out. It worked out exactly how it was supposed to work out. Because if I would have chosen any one of those other pathways, I wouldn't be here where I am right now. So I have gratitude for all those different avenues that I went down, those avenues that I explored, that helped to shape the person that I am today, the mind that I have today, the I that I have today. So after I graduated college, I decided, you know what, I'm going to try to apply for as many of these creative jobs as I possibly can. So I was really into concept art at the time. I wanted to create characters in worlds for video games. So that was my plan A, was I was going to do that. So I sent out a bunch of resumes for that. But then my plan B was like, I just need to find a job in creative design somehow. So I applied to a bunch of graphic design jobs too. And I was just throwing stuff out there, resume after resume after resume, just grasping at straws to find a job. And I couldn't. It was the height of the economic crash. It just wasn't happening. And I think part of it was the crash, and part of it was the fact that I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was just scattershotting it out there, hoping that I'd be able to find something. And I needed to be more specific. I think I needed to just say, hey, this is what I want right now, and I'm going to allow the universe to bring it to me. So after a while of getting rejected, I knew I needed to take a job. So I took a job at the Michaels frame shop, of all places. But I told myself at that time that I was never going to compromise and take a job that didn't utilize my creative skills. So I at least thought that the frame shop at Michaels, at the end of the day, I'd walk out of there with some extra knowledge of framing and how to showcase art. I thought that would at least be a skill set that I could use in my future, right? Rather than, you know, a retail job or something like that. No offense to people who work retail. But I didn't want to compromise. I said to myself, this is the job the type of job that I want. This is the type of job I'm going to go after. So after working at Michael's Frame Shop for a while, I was hanging out with one of my friends, and they decided, hey, can you come with me? I need to go pick up my car from the dealership. I'm like, sure, we'll go to the dealership. So we went over to the dealership, and while we're there, he's boasting about, hey, I know the guy who owns the place. Like, let's go talk to the guy that owns the place. We'll go to his office. I'm like, okay, sure, we'll go talk to this guy. And we're talking to him, and there's fairy dust. Yeah, I hear it in the background. Anyway, so I went to the dealership, and we were talking to the owner of the dealership, and this guy, my friend, is just talking me up. You know, this guy's an amazing artist. You should see his work. You should see, you know, check out his work. And the guy that owned the dealership just said, hey, you know, why don't you send me some designs for t-shirts? You know, I'll give you some assets to work from, you know, logos and stuff. But, you know, go wild and show me what you got. So I did, and he bought some. But about a week later, I get this mysterious email from a guy who owns a marketing company, the marketing company that works for the dealership. And it just so happened that the owner of the dealership knew that the head of this marketing company had just had one of his graphic designers quit and move on to another job, and he was looking for a replacement. And I just had happened to be in there at that time for him to think about me and put my name out there. And the guy contacted me, and from then on, I started out as a graphic designer for that company, and 5 years later, I was a creative director. And all along that way, I got to admit, I think there were about 3 or 4 times when we all thought for 100% certainty that the business was going to get bought out and that I was going to just have this cash windfall. So this whole time, this whole period of my life, I am just thinking like, okay, everything's happening. Like, I'm getting all this, everything that I wanted. I'm getting this high paying job. I love the work that I'm doing. I love the people that I'm working with. I'm teaching this team. I'm leading this team. I get to do all the creative stuff that I wanted to do, which is fantastic. However, there was something about it that just, you know, it didn't feel right to me. It didn't resonate with me over time. And I think what it was I was getting bogged down by the clients that we were working for and the actual work I was doing, because the clients, they didn't really care about the work. They only cared about the money, the sales, what are you doing for me today? You know, what sales are you making for me today? And that's just, it doesn't resonate with who I am. And I think that's fair. Everybody has different things that resonate within them. And I think we all have to be very respectful of what resonates with other people and what doesn't actually resonate with someone. So for me, it just wasn't resonating with me. And at the time, I was looking for another creative outlet. So I did some other drawings, you know, just for fun. You know, I had this kind of story rattling around my head for a while, a superhero story, and I kind of played around with that for a bit, just for fun. And I happened to show one of my colleagues at my job, and they came into my office and they said, hey, you know, your drawings are really good. Have you ever thought about doing, you know, having a table at this local Comic-Con? And it's just like hit me like a ton of bricks or like a punch to the face, like duh, like why didn't I think of this before? Why didn't I buy a table and showcase my artwork before? This is so, it's natural for me, you know? So I decided, you know what, I'm going to actually make this story a reality. I'm going to like flesh out these characters. I'm going to create a short preview of the book. I'm going to actually get it printed up, and I'm going to buy a table, and I'm going to try to sell it and see what happens. So I, you know, put the plan together. I went online, I registered for the whole thing, but then I got to the end and it said, we're sorry, but we're sold out. So I'm like, man, you know, I really wanted to do this. Like, I thought that this was going to be like a really amazing, maybe even a next step or a new avenue for me. So I kind of just let it go, and I was like, you know, it is what it is. So then about a week before the event, I get a phone call, and it says, we have a spot for you. Do you want it? And I'm sitting there thinking, yes, I want it with all of my heart, all of my passion, all of my soul, but I have no books. I didn't get anything printed because I thought, I'm not going to be able to do it. So why am I going to spend all this money to make these books? And what I should have been saying to myself is, do you want to make the books for yourself because you want to make the books? Do it. Don't think about the money. Don't think about how am I going to sell these? Are people going to buy them? Just do it for yourself. And guess what? When you do it for yourself, things start happening. And this is the prime example. When I got to that, when I got the call and I said, yes, I'm going to do it, I immediately got on the phone. I got the printer, into the perfect, place in their schedule where they had enough time. And they said, yeah, we can do this. We can get it done quickly. We're going to get it over to you as soon as we can. I think I got it like the day before, and I was freaking out, man. But I got it, and I showed up. And a lot of times at these shows, for those of you who have gone, you don't know who you're going to sit next to. You can like sit next to somebody like super cool and super famous, or maybe you're sitting next to somebody who's like, not that cool and maybe kind of just like a bum on the log, So the very first time I did this, I got sat next to Joseph Cooper. And some of you might recognize that name as the artist of one of the books that I created called Feast or Famine. Joseph Cooper and I have been friends for a long time, and it was because of this happenstance meeting at the very first Comic-Con that he and I went to together, or at least I went to. The guy's been in the industry forever. He's super crazy talented. But just in those 3 days that we sat next to one another, I learned so much about the comic book industry. I learned so much about, the passion that he has for the work that he does. I got to connect with someone who I've worked with multiple times now in the future, and I had no idea that was going to happen. Absolutely no idea that was going to happen. So after that, I, created the full book. It did really well. I created another book. I got it published through an indie publisher. It did also very well. And today I find myself doing the same thing, continuing to do books and creating books. But now what I'm doing is I'm doing it for myself. So I'm not trying to partner with a publisher. I'm not trying to, get anybody else involved other than myself. I want to do everything myself. And the reason why is because I wholeheartedly believe that I can. I wholeheartedly believe that I can do the artwork, I can do the writing, I can do the coloring, I can do everything. And because I know that I can do it, I believe that I can do it, I know that I can write that story for myself. And I want you to kind of see how this is all, coming together now. So all along the way, I have tried to, I shouldn't say try because words are magic. I have written a story for myself. I've created a vision in my head for what I wanted in my life, because I've only talked about my career. I haven't talked about the love in my life. I haven't talked about the beautiful other things that I have that surrounded me. But it's all the same. It all can be created by you as long as you can pick up that pen and start writing the story for yourself and not allow other people to write it. Because when you make decisions like, well, I'm going to just take this job because I need the money, or I think I'm going to have to reduce my rate on this because I don't know if they're going to, want to buy it if it's that expensive, right? Don't devalue yourself. Don't devalue the work that you're doing, and don't devalue what you can contribute to other people's lives. Because at the end of the day, if you're doing that, you're telling the universe, this is what you want. You want to sell work at a lower rate, or you want to not get that job opportunity because you don't think it can happen. Believe wholeheartedly that it can happen, because the least that's going to happen is that it won't. But guess what? I can guarantee you that it most likely will happen. It most likely will happen. You just have to believe it enough, and you have to do the work. You have to do it every single day. And I'm not saying you have to, sit down and grind hour after hour after hour. I'm saying you have to hold that intention in your mind. You have to do the work of reminding yourself throughout your day when you are in a period of self-doubt, or where you're feeling like you're allowing someone else to write your own story. That's the moment, that's the opportunity for you to do the inner work and to tell yourself, no, I'm writing my own story. I'm great. I can do it. And some of you may notice over my shoulder up here, I've got a mantra above my desk. I say that every single day when I walk into my office. Actually, no, I say it every single time I look at it, because I'm trying to hold these words in my frequency throughout my day, especially as I'm working. And the last line of it is, I am Dave Swartz and I am great. So if you're struggling with trying to write your story, if you feel like the life that you're living right now isn't exactly what you want for your life, I encourage you to start with a mantra. Write out exactly what you want for your life, how you see yourself, the vision that you have for yourself. Write that out and then say it repeatedly every day. And I can guarantee you amazing things are going to happen, because amazing things have happened for me time and time and time again. Okay? So this has been the first episode of Dose of Dave. I'm going to try to keep them kind of short. This video seems to be about like 15 minutes or so, but I'm trying to keep it a little shorter than that. But I hope you guys stay tuned for the next one. The next one, I have no idea what I'm going to talk about, but you know, at the end of the day, I believe in you. You should believe in you too, because the universe is infinite in its abundance. And if it's infinite in its abundance, then you can create whatever story you want to create for yourself. Okay? All right. One of the things that I love to do is kind of just get loose and have fun. And the best way I knew to do that is to kind of dance it off, because especially when I'm in just modes of like, I'm feeling like heavy. I feel all this doubt, this fear, this anger, you know, just dance it off, man. Just let it out, you know? So that's what we're going to do. At the end of every show, I'm just going to kind of do a little bit of dance, and I hope you guys do a little bit of dance too. And give me a couple of good breaths before we do that. Okay. Let's just go in and out. Because guess what? Breathing is the easiest way you can calm yourself and get back into that mode of belief in who you are and what you can contribute to those around you. All right? Take care, guys.